This video was brought to you by me, procrastinating anything productive and dropping 18 hours into the bucket of RPG Maker MV game development. You know, I understand how you guys can drop like hundreds of hours into this engine. This is fun on PlayStation. Tales of Orsterra is a lovely little jaunt through a fantasy land with D&D inspirations for the stats, characters, and attacks. Now, I'm an avid D&D player myself. I attend the sessions with my party when we have them once every blue moon to kill a vampire and sell it sometime between now and Christmas. So naturally I'm holding things to a decently highbrow with the party members. That's a joke, lads. Now, we know the moves here. We've danced this dance before. So instead of teaching the two-step, let's just hop it and hope no one forgot anything along the way. I also want to note that I got very close to, but didn't quite finish this game. I'll explain when I get to combat, but if any issues I have with this game are fixed after the game finishes for some reason, then whoops. Now, the story itself keeps itself quite reined in. It's very simple, and that is not a bad thing. You simply go from place to place doing odd jobs for the guild before things step up and you're plotting chaos and carnage and fighting off devils and monsters. You know, classic D&D stuff. It is worth noting that the story actually impacts the world around you as you continue through it, which I always like in these sorts of games. More NPCs will appear in the guild hall as you progress, and some NPC merchants will move to other towns as you arrive at them. It's a neat little attention to detail there, if it does make things a little bit annoying going around and upgrading everything. There are a few minor side quests here and there that give like light rewards, but you can really go without them. The main ones of note are Kisara's training, using Divine Smite to unlock new skills, returning to the pyramid, giving my personal favourite weapon of them all for doing so, and the incredibly small quest from Elminster of all people. That man is an actual D&D character. He shows up everywhere in D&D lore. Really, there's not an awful lot else I can say in regards to the story. It's simple, it's good, it feels like a D&D module, so, you know, good work. I give the story a rank of 4 out of 5. Excluding the player character, which I of course named Matcha, there were 3 characters I used avidly throughout the adventure. Kisara the cleric, Rin the rogue, and Shione the wizard. I won't be talking about the fighter character you can pick because I really haven't seen much of him. That's entirely my fault, didn't pick him. Kisara is a character that I really did enjoy to have in my party. I tend to play clerics or paladins when I get to play D&D, so I was a little biased to Kisara, and she was the character that just ended up getting all of the constitution boosts the game would offer, and came really damn hard to take down in a fight. Her healing skills are really helpful, and I just find her very sweet. She is a very nice character, good job. Shione gets the benefit of 2 of my favourite things in RPGs. Electric damage, and gambling damage numbers. A wand that you can get from the pyramid on a revisit allows Shione to use the spell Call Lightning. This does electric damage and can recast itself up to an additional 5 times, so okay. Shione turned from a kinda alright damage dealer to spam lightning, use your life drain spell if your health drops below half and pray that nothing crits you. And I like that. I find that a really nice little flow. Rin became a bit of a Jill of all trades in my party. She had all sorts of accessories equipped for all sorts of things, yet she still ended up just turning into a fish for blind procs. Her personality was pretty neat too, her little moment with her girlfriend was very sweet. I just kind of wish there was more, like, in the actual campaign lines whenever everyone pipes up, because she seemed very behind the curve with the others. All in all, these characters are really fun. They've got nice dynamics and interactions with other party members, and all of them have interactions with specific NPCs. So I'm gonna give the characters a score of 4 out of 5. D&D's finest repertoire of spells and attacks come out in full force here. There are so many spells, attacks, and the like here that I saw and had the Leonardo DiCaprio moment pointing at it because I knew it. Misty Step, Firebolt, Shocking Grasp, Pummel Strike, Cure Wounds, Revivify, Call Lightning. These are all spells and skills that come from D&D that have been transferred in a really smooth way. Misty Step, just instantly teleporting you back to the guild, is a flawless idea and was better than anything that I would have thought it would do before I actually looked at it. They've been transferred to a JRPG flawlessly. They're also pretty decently balanced, with the spells using one of the 3 casting stats for their damage, and basic attacks using one of the attacking stats, and the status conditions, while numerous, are hindering enough that you don't want to get them and want to get rid of them as soon as possible, but not too hindering so that you wouldn't be able to do anything while you've got one of them. But while the combat's balance is good 90% of the time, the remaining 10% is a little off. There are 3 instances of the combat balance being out of whack on occasion. One is a general issue I notice with most boss fights, and the other 2 are specific issues that certain bosses have had. The first issue is that bosses are fast. It is a common thing with most boss fights that they outpace and outdamage the team at every step. The only way I could keep the fight on a decent momentum was to spam Pummel Strike from Matcha and Hamstring Shot from Rin and Fish Fist the speed cuts. This way, everyone but Kisara, who was pretty consistently at 1 with her dexterity, were able to keep ahead of enemies and top off HP when needed. The second issue I have is with the fight with the 4 horsemen near the very end of the game. This is actually the reason I haven't finished the game. Half of the 4 horsemen, namely the one that Kisara faces and the one that the fighter faces, they're pretty alright, they're easy enough to deal with. I think they may have an issue with some of their attacks that are meant to damage the player are damaging them, but if that's intentional, then disregard. But the one that Rin faces and the one Shione faces are an uncomfortable difficulty spike. Firstly, the fight Rin faces inflicts marked for death before the first turn. I assume this fight's a speed bag that requires you to take it incredibly fast and just burst damage it down. Issue: I couldn't do it fast enough, it gets a dodge skill, and the alternative would be surviving the mark for death somehow. I don't know how that'd work. I think a further explanation will be needed to make this fight make more sense, both out of, explain to me in the comments how this would work, and a descriptor in the actual game as to how that fight plays out. I think that'd help. And then the fight Shione takes is 100% a skill issue. I just can't out-heal it. Showing once again the issue with the speed. Yeah, but it is really cool that it changes its shape to look like the monster that it is imitating. The third issue I have is with the devil boss in the Sky Tower. AoE sleep sucks. If you're going to have a skill inflict sleep on the party, don't make it an 100% chance. Make it just 40, 50%. Because it cuts the momentum of the demon fight to a crawl at the best of times, and it has costed me a few attempts at the worst. At least it was just the one fight, and if there was any other fights that had sleep skills, I didn't really notice it. I would give a lesser score to combat for these balance issues, but the D&D spells being incorporated into this game in such a smooth way is enough to offset the damage for me, so I'll give it a 4 out of 5. So here is where I can point out the one singular game-breaking bug I found with this game. And I use game-breaking liberally because it really isn't a game-breaking bug. It's just something that could potentially prevent you from using one of the merchants. If you go to purchase a charm from Kyra when she moves to the Ice Village without reading her letter of goodbye in the guild tent when she moves, you can't buy from her. It's a small issue, but it is an issue I noticed because I didn't really thoroughly search the guild place. Apart from that, there is a valuable reason to pay attention where you walk, as in several caves across the game, there are tiles that either spawn a monster or damage you if you stand on them. Also, there's a bunch of pages for the Grimoires scattered around the world. You get 15 experience for each page you find, and a reward from the librarian for finding certain numbers of them in the castle town. This game also has something I've not really seen. 2 halves of a city accessible from the same field icon, just depending on where you stand. Going into the left side of the castle town field icon puts you in the lower town, and the right side of the field icon puts you in the upper town. Apart from that, this world map is small, but it is not a hindrance to the game. It knows it is a small little jaunt, and it doesn't try to be anything bigger than it is. But what does this timer in the snow forest do? I didn't really want to find out. The world itself isn't anything too special. but the unique tiles to watch for and the pages to look for help keep the game feeling fresh to poke around in. So I'm going to give Exploration a 3 out of 5. This game feels like a fun, self-contained D&D module that would be given to you with a game like Baldur's Gate as a tutorial. And that's a good thing. It teaches enough about the game to let the player understand the game, but not enough to make it too easy. It makes the game a delightful experience that I will definitely go back to finish. I might even try the Lone Wolf mode. I don't know. We'll see. The one thing that would have been cool, and I understand that this is a small game with a decently short runtime, is that having more characters to unlock to adventure with after you complete the first few quests would be a really nice idea. Like the Warlock in the Guild Town. I want to adventure with the Warlock, or a Barbarian, or a Ranger. Just more character options would allow for more flexibility with party builds. Despite the few flaws I found with this game, the charm, character, and unique ideas that this game had brought to the table means that I can't in good faith rank this game any lower than a 4 out of 5. Giving Tales of Orsterra a score of 19 out of 25, allowing it to join the 19 out of 25 gang. I'll slot it neatly between Idrika Descending and Demon King Defiance. Neither of the games in between it have any, Idrika Descending has a better ensemble cast in my opinion, whereas Demon King Defiance is very over the place. The frequent NPCs that show up in Tales of Orsterra are enough to put it above Demon King Defiance, but not enough to put it above Idrika Descending. Tales of Orsterra is a very well-made experience, and while my time with this game was limited by my own skill issues, I still really enjoyed it from where I started to where I finished. I'm eager to see any future updates to this game, and I really hope that it gets something like an expansion adding more content. Maybe some more optional side quests, maybe another world area to explore. Whatever it'll be, I'm eager to see more of it, and yeah, just again, this is a really fun, jaunty little adventure that is a pretty good pick it up for about a few hours or so to kill time. It's really fun. The next video I do is going to be an unscripted developer commentary on the first few, I think, 18 hours I spent on my own game development as of now, which won't count for this review series because I'm not reviewing anything. So the next game on the list for me to review is Orm's Tale, meeting the Radley quota for this video because that is a Radley game. That's all from me in this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!